Hey everybody, welcome to day 2 of our live video training series for Rebels. I'm Rose from Rebel Leader Academy, and before I dive in today, I'm actually in my closet because it's the quietest place in my house right now. It's ridiculously loud with all my family, so we're just going to hang out here for a little bit. But before I go into talking about what it is to be a rebel and some of the different rebel archetypes that we are going to go into to see which one you actually are, or maybe what combination, because there are different nuances to the whole archetype itself. And it's helpful to know, especially when you start thinking about your past and what you want to do in your future. So before I get into that, yesterday there was a little confusion around our Rogue Warrior contest that we're doing this month. So what we're doing, as we mentioned, is that every day we're going to be giving you guys a letter, right? So a letter of the alphabet, and it'll spell out a phrase. So by the end of these 23 days, you'll actually have a whole phrase that you'll be able to pop into our chat and be entered to win one of 3 of our prizes coming up. So that's that. And if you want to, get involved with it and actually subscribe and say, yeah, I'm in the contest, let's go. All you have to do is hit send message on our Facebook page, and our lovely little rogue chatbot will go ahead and sign you up right away. There's nothing else that you have to do. So it just lets us know to send you notifications when we're going to go live so that you don't miss anything and whatnot. Also, the videos are going to be all put together in a nice playlist for you. So if you're on the page and you go to videos, it'll say Rogue Warrior Contest videos, and you can watch them all there in case you're not here live with me. So that being said, today I really want to get into what it means to be a rebel and why it's so important for us to, in a way, come together and recognize who we are to the world and then act from that place as revolutionaries. And throughout the month, I'm going to be telling you why that's actually incredibly important right now and why this is a really pivotal point in history for us to make a lot of changes that tend to really only come about with that rebellious sort of energy that kind of says, fuck these systems, this isn't right, I'm not going to go along with this anymore, and all of that wonderfulness that comes along with us. So to start, I kind of want to talk generally about the whole rebel idea, because I put a call out there, right, and said, hey, are you a rebel? And you guys answered, and you said, yeah, I am. But not many of us really know what that means other than we feel in the spirit of it, right? We know that maybe you've been told you're kind of rebellious your whole life. Maybe you've had trouble fitting in. Maybe you have always been that kind of nonconformist and just said, fuck it to everything, in school or whatever, your career. A lot of us end up in entrepreneurship, right? And that's wonderful because we tend to create really cool businesses and shift things up. So as a rebel, right, if you haven't studied this stuff before, our core desire is revolution, which is pretty interesting. So our whole makeup is to look out into the world and go, oh, that's fucked up, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that either, and I'm going to do it this way. And that sort of spirit and mentality and willingness to go to the edge and willingness to, not care what other people think and just do it your way. That's what creates the spirit of invention and the spirit of, hey, do you guys see this other path over here? Maybe we'll try it this way. Maybe this is better. So that really is the energy that pulls us out of what we have already created as a species and takes us into the next level, right? I mean, if you look at anybody in history that's kind of made waves, the Wright brothers with flight, or, the first people going to space, or whatever the case may be, people like Martin Luther King Jr., people that have these innovative ideas and look around the world and go, this could be improved, that's not right, that's immoral, all of these things, which is an interesting dynamic because we're usually the ones that are considered immoral, even though when we really dive into it, we tend to be the ones questioning the morality of our time and looking for something better, looking for what's next and pushing that envelope forward. So it's really why I'm excited to be working with you guys, and why I feel this training is so important, is so that you recognize who you are and take that place in the world and take that place in your own lives and own it. So maybe the great place to start actually is to talk about the 3 levels of what happens as we as we grow. So usually as children, for example, or even in adolescence, when we really start to feel this energy, is that we're looked at as an outsider and we kind of take that place. So some people find like little cliques, like maybe you're whatever, you're a nerd or whatever your clique was, right? But from the mainstream, we tend to be really on the outside. And we, on the one hand, we put up this buffer and we're like, well, fuck it, we don't care. That's okay. And in a way it is. Like, we do have that nature in us and that strength in us to say, yeah, that's fine. I really don't care. But yeah, you know, we are human. So there is that need to find our tribe, find our people, find those people that kind of say fuck it to the same things we do, right? So as we move out of that, one of the ways that we do that to try to find our tribe, even though if we don't like know that we're doing this, is that we tend to really act out. So maybe in school you got in a lot of trouble, or you're the type of person that kind of people shy away from, or you're too strong in terms of your personality, you know, you're too offensive, that kind of thing, abrasive, right? But here's the thing, is as we, and we know this kind of inherently, even though if we don't consciously know it, as we put out that sort of abrasive, quote, energy, it's that we weed out like all of the other people that can't handle it, or really just are more on the conventional end and like things to stay the way they are. So we end up putting this like really gigantic energy out there. And then eventually we do find our people. Eventually we find the right tribe for us. And when we do that, something magical happens, is we turn all of that energy into something mission driven, usually into something that says, hey, this is actually what I stand for. And this is incredibly important. And these people over here, these crazy people just like me, they believe it too, right? So that's a turning point for us, because all of a sudden, all of this shit that we have been saying or thinking or feeling, we find people that go, you know what, you're kind of right. Like, yeah, I agree with you, or that's fucked up and that needs to change. I always get this crazy notion that, maybe you've never seen it, that old movie. I don't even remember the name of it. It's some stupid love story. But anyway, the whole thing is like, he's like leaving work, right? And he's like, who's coming with me? And then there's like one dude that's like, yeah, I'm coming with you. And then they go build this thing. But it's that feeling, right? And that's really why it's so important for us to move through our not so positive, just like fuck the world and negative energy and things like that, is because once we can harness that back in and we stop fighting for our place in a way, then what happens is we own it and we say, this is what I stand for, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to create in the world. I'm going to find the people that believe what I believe and go there and fuck the rest of the people. And that's amazing, because that outward positive energy that we eventually get to is what turns everything around, what makes us entrepreneurs that are kick-ass, the people that are out there, maybe whoever you admire, right? Like an Elon Musk or, what's that other guy? Richard Branson, like all of these people that are mavericks. And I'm going to use that term. We're going to get into that. So all these people that are mavericks, but for right now, I want you to see that that's a progress. So we start out as being outsiders, right? Feeling we're the weirdos, like nobody's like us. Nobody believes the things we do, whatever. And that's okay. And then we fight against it. Then we're like, fuck you guys. Like, this is exactly what I believe. And I'm going to put it in your face and I don't care what you think, right? And then we go through all that like negative crap. But then eventually we get to a place where we're like, all right, it's okay. One, it's okay to be me. And even better, it's not even okay to be me. It's fantastic to be exactly this, because this is what the world needs. So when we go through that process, one of the things that I want to help you figure out is what kind of like sub-archetype rebel you are. So there are 5 major ones that I'm going to talk about. And to be fair, all of these sub-archetypes are really, if you go classic, under the outlaw archetype. That's what it was originally called. And rebel was one of the sub-archetypes. So we have rebel, activist, gambler, maverick, and reformer. and they all sort of have their own like little nuances to them, and their own how they kind of fit into the bigger scheme of things in the bigger culture. So I'm going to get into all of the different sub archetypes in different videos, because I did promise these are going to be roughly 10 minutes long, and I get super excited and start to ramble, and I'm going to try to cut myself short. So when I see you guys next on Wednesday, I'm going to be going into the first two, which are the actual rebel archetype and the maverick, which are super, super fun. Mavericks is kind of that rule breaking one that we tend to look at as, more the classic rebel in the sense of what we see in pop culture, getting on your motorcycle and riding off, which is a whole other thing I'm going to dispel, because we also have very quiet rebels, very quiet people that work behind the scenes, don't, quote, look the part of a rebel, don't have all the tattoos necessarily, don't put it in your face, but they're like quietly manipulating behind the scenes, like laws and structures and kind of swaying people. So we're going to get into that too, to really find your place. And then as this whole thing goes on, I'm going to talk about the challenges that we face as adults who have this spirit in us, who have this need for change and aren't afraid to own it and move into it. So I'm going to leave you guys with that for today. The point being is that we have these levels that we move through. Number one, we're an outsider, right? And as much as we say that's okay, it does kind of suck. Like, we do like to have friends. We're human. We're social creatures. We want to find those people. We want to find out our people that support us and believe the way we do. But usually as we grow up, because our systems are what they are and they don't really allow much variance, and they teach us, that's a whole other issue, that they really break us down as much as they can and try to teach us to conform, we tend to be outcast, even in our careers, especially in our 20s and even into our early 30s. That tends to be really rough for us. And going through and bouncing between this and that and this and that in different corporate cultures or company cultures that we just can't fit in. And then we start engaging in all this shocking behavior as like a real push, like, well, total fuck you. And then the third act, if you will, is that we step into our power as true revolutionaries and make those kind of world-changing impacts that we can actually do. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys for tonight. Oh, of course, for the contest, the letter today is O. So there you go. O, if you are tracking it. And if you are, go ahead, just hit message me on the page. Our little chat bot will, ping you, and you'll be all set for being entered into our contest. All right, great. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye for now. Thank you.